Hello, we've made it. This is the final step in our sector circular flow model. So what is this last step we're looking at? It is, just get mine printing, is overseas. Yay! So in New Zealand, we are dependent on exports for our income. Without exports, we would have an awful lot of dairy products to eat, and lots of other things as well, like forestry, and we have some coal, and we have some wine, and we export lots of stuff. We're also very dependent on products from overseas, like oil for our cars, and lots of our medicines, and most of our electronics all come from overseas. We tend to specialize as countries in things that we can do more cheaply, and then we sell them to other countries and buy in the things that we don't provide. So exports are a money flow from overseas. So if people sell stuff overseas, they bring in money to New Zealand, which they then spend in the economy, which is really, really good for us. That's one of the things you may have heard with COVID-19, is that we need to get the money from overseas. So we're not getting our tourists. That's something we'll look at more next week. And imports are a flow of money going overseas. So some people think that we should buy New Zealand made so the money stays within the country. Alrighty, we import lots of our technology, we export logs, I've already covered that. So let's have a look at our model. This is the final model and it's getting quite cluttered. So we've got all of the things that we've already seen. So we've got the households with the savings and the loans and transfer payments and income tax, and we've got all of these things, the payments for labour and buying that off the producers. And then over here, it's usually the producers that make the stuff and send overseas. And so we pay them for imports that we buy, and in return we receive money for the exports that we send overseas. So those are our two money flows. And then we have the real flows of exports. So that's things that we send overseas. If you've ever been to Lyttelton, you'll see the cargo ships and that mountain of logs and those kinds of things that are going overseas. And then we have the imports, all of those things that come into New Zealand as well. And that's the real flows. So that's our 5-sector circular flow. How do we show that if we're talking about individual examples? So we've got our person who might buy petrol from BP. Now, are they buying an import when they do that? BP doesn't produce a lot of petrol in New Zealand. We only have a small refinery here. We import our petrol. So the person who is buying it from BP, and BP is actually buying it from overseas. So we've got an extra step in our model that we can identify here, is that it's an import and it's going through our producer to our household. So if we're looking at the real flows, it's probably crude oil coming into New Zealand, getting refined, and then being sold by BP to the customer. We could also do examples of things like iPhones coming in and going through a shop like Noel Leemings or something like that. So that is our 5-sector circular